Break the Board Sports is my personal favorite show of the week. It's the teaser show outside of Wife versus the Handicapper. Always love it when my lovely wife, Robin, joins us for Wife versus the Handicapper on Wednesday nights. But listen, teaser one of the best ones. Now, this past week was a little rough, not going to lie. Those favorites hurt me, especially Carolina. They didn't get across the finish line. But this week, like the card, let's get back at it again. Click that like, hit subscribe again. Just kind of give you the context. I know everybody loves these 6-point teasers. When applicable, when it fits better, I'll give you the 6-pointer. I know they're like -$20. I play much more 7-point teasers, which are -$30 to -$50. Depends on where you shop around. Again, multiple betting outlets, always important. So you shop around for the best. But I like the 7-pointers. I want the extra points. I've seen way too many block kicks, and there's been way too many things happen to me in the past. I want that extra point. On top of it, I do a lot of 10-point 3-team teasers, -$30. That's one of my favorites. So let's hop into it. We go down through first one, Thursday Night Football. Again, check out that show. We break down the Jets Patriots. Right now, the line keeps bouncing around between 13.5, 12.5. Right now, it's at 12.5 at DraftKings. I love the Patriots and a 10-point teaser, getting them down to -2.5 just to win by a field goal. I think that's really good value. That's something I can sink my teeth into. I actually played that in a 10-point teaser, and so I'll go with that one. Next game on the board, you got the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. Now they're over in Madrid. Miami 3-8 straight up their last 11. A very emotional, high-energy win. They knocked off Buffalo and Miami. I gave that out. If you were signed up with one of our packages, breaktheboardsports.com, I gave out Miami +10. They won outright. Washington is just 2-4 straight up versus Miami overall, and 0-4-1 ATS the last 5 times they've played the Dolphins. Obviously, Washington going with Marcus Mariota here at quarterback. However, I talk about when 6-point teasers are applicable. I think this is a good one. Right now, the line's 2.5. If you get Washington +8.5, I think they can stay within that number. I like them. I actually like Washington to win the game outright, believe it or not. Again, big emotional, high-energy win for the Miami Dolphins against the rival Bills in Miami. I like that spot for Miami last week. I don't like this spot for them this week. So I think, again, Washington in the 6-point teaser +8.5, really, really good value for you there. Next game I want to hit on, Packers-Giants. I'd be very careful with this. Now, Packers, they were in a heavyweight fight with the Eagles. Now they're on the road at the Giants, laying 7. Giants going with famous Jameis Winston. And listen, Winston's a feast or famine guy. He could throw 4 tubs, but 5 picks all in the same game. I would look to the Giants +17 and a 10-pointer, but I decided just better of it. The Packers going in there and winning. I remember when they got knocked off. It was a big Survivor game, really ruined the Circus Survivor contest for a lot of people there when the Giants knocked off the Green Bay Packers, But so I skipped over that one. Another one, Tampa Bay at Buffalo. Now, both these teams lost last week. They were the 2 teams that rocked me the most. I had the Buccaneers -2.5, one of my bigger bets of the week. I thought these teams off the bye, very profitable, and then it scared me off the Philly game. Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield, I like them in a 10-point teaser, getting them +15.5, but I like Buffalo with Washington, taking Buffalo down the pick in a 6-pointer. So you can do that 6-pointer, -$1.20, -$1.25. Buffalo pick, Washington +8.5. I think that's a good 6-point teaser. Again, if you're going to play Tampa, I'd put them in that 10-pointer. Maybe you got New England -2.5 with Tampa +15.5. I like the way that goes. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. This one's really interesting because I just don't know. I don't know what Pittsburgh is. I know they're not very good, and I also know Cincinnati's not very good either. So I'm kind of torn with the handicap on this game as far as which way to go with this. When you look at Cincinnati, they're just 2-5 ATS their last 7. They're 1-6 straight up their last 7 overall in that same time frame. Obviously, Joe Burrow's out. Cincinnati, though, over the last 5 matchups, 1-4 ATS against Pittsburgh, but they knocked off Pittsburgh a couple weeks back. Remember Joe Flacco's first game, though. Pittsburgh 8-3 ATS their last 11 versus Cincinnati. This is a must-win for Pittsburgh in the fact that Baltimore is now coming hot and heavy on their heels. 63% of bets, 56% of the handle is on Cincinnati, +15.5. 37% of tickets, 44% of the handle is on Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh in a 6-pointer. Again, I'm down to pick. I think they come through in this must win. However, their defense is going to have to step up and do a much better job. But I actually like Pittsburgh here at pick. Another game that I'm looking at here that I like as far as teaser purposes, I like the Arizona Cardinals in a 7-pointer, getting them up to plus 10. Right now, the 49ers are getting 82% ticking out and 85% of the money. They're laying 3 at Arizona. Arizona is just 18% of the tickets and 15% of the handle. However, when you look into this, Arizona's 13-7 ATS their last 20, despite being 1-6 straight up their last 7. San Francisco 5-2 straight up their last 7 versus Arizona, but San Francisco doesn't cover spreads. They're 6-13 their last 19 contests. When you look at here, 6-4 are the 49ers, 3-6 is Arizona. If you go back to the head-to-head, San Francisco won this game earlier this year in San Francisco 16-15. And I'm sorry, but Jacoby Brissett gives Arizona a better shot than Kyler Murray. Arizona plus 10 and a 7-point teaser. I think that's a great leg to lean on there. Baltimore at Cleveland. I think this is a sucker game of the week, but I love Baltimore in the 7-point teaser to go with the Cardinals plus 10. Right now, Baltimore laying 7.5. There's a couple 8s. They're getting 76% of bets, 82% of the handle, compared to Cleveland. 24% of bets, 18% of the handle. So books are going to need the Browns, but in this 7-point teaser scenario, you're just asking Baltimore to win the game. You're not asking them to cover any kind of points at all. So that kind of changes my outlook on that, makes it a little bit more comfortable there on the road. However, weird things always happen. Baltimore 14-6 straight up their last 20 versus Cleveland, 8-4 ATS their last 12. Cleveland overall 1-5 ATS their last 6 games, but Cleveland doesn't win. They're 2-13 straight up their last 15 overall. If you look at it, Baltimore and Cleveland, they played earlier this year. Baltimore beat them in Baltimore 41-17. I don't think this game is that bad, but I do think if you have a 7-pointer with Baltimore, put them with Arizona, or you do, 7. You could do a 6-pointer. You're going to have to lay 1.5 points. Again, this is a rivalry game. I just like to pick them, but it wouldn't hurt me if you did a 495 interstate kind of teaser with Washington and the Ravens. I could definitely see your point there. I just like Lamar Jackson in the spot, and I think they get across the finish line here in this game. Next one I like. I love them in a 6-pointer plus 8.5. I love them in a 10-pointer plus 12.5. Is the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. Check this out. Right now, Eagles laying 2.5. 69% of bets and 53% of the handle going to the Lions. 31% of bets, 47% of the handle going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Lions 4-1 ATS their last 5 meetings against the Eagles, and they're 15-5 straight up their last 20 overall. Philly is 13-2 straight up their last 15. But listen, Detroit 6-2 ATS their last 8 games overall. Detroit in this spot, they come in 6-3. Philly is 7-2. These two teams haven't met since 2022. In Detroit, again, Philly won by 3. Just think if somebody take the teaser part out of it. If they said Detroit was getting 8.5 or 12.5, you jump on it. If I was putting together a 10-point teaser for the week, my best 10-point teaser off the cuff, I would have Detroit plus 12.5. I'd have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 15.5, and I'd have the New England Patriots down at minus 2.5. I think that's your best scenario for that. If you're looking for a 6-point teaser, again, I think Washington is the best one to give for that, and I'd match them up with the Baltimore Ravens. I also like a 7-pointer, Cardinals and Ravens. Chiefs, Denver, there's nothing there I really like as far as teaser. I'm not really sure how that game's going to go. I do have a handicap on that and the Rams-Seahawks game, a doubleheader best bet show coming out. Check both of those out. Another team I like in a 7-point teaser, believe it or not, I like going to Monday night. Now, Dallas 3-5-1 straight up. The Raiders are 2-7 straight up. Dallas, they've taken 3 of the last 4, but the last time these two teams played in 2021, Raiders won that game by 3. Right now, Dallas laying 3.5. They're getting 79% of bets, 86% of the handle. Raiders only getting 21% ticket count, 14% of the handle. Books are going to need the Raiders. More money is going to come in on Dallas. You might even get a 4 and put them in a 10-pointer or a 7-pointer plus 11. Dallas is 4-2 straight up the last 6 when they play on the road in Vegas, but they are 1-5 straight up overall their last 6 road games. Now Vegas 2-8 straight up their last 10 at home and 1-7 straight up their last 8. But listen, the Raiders defense has been playing really good. They got that rest. They held down Denver. I like the Raiders in a 7-point teaser in this one. I think you can find a lot of value. So again, 10-point teaser, best bet, Patriots minus 2.5, Bucks plus 15.5, and the Detroit Lions plus 12.5. And then my best 7-point teaser, or 6-point teaser rather, let's go with Ravens, Redskins, or Commanders rather, in a 6-point teaser. Again, click that like, hit subscribe, Break the Board Sports, where we help you become a better handicapper. Check out our NHL, NBA, college hoop show. God bless and happy handicapping.